Ross Waters with Trackside Model Railroading. I'm here with Jerry Green in his Oregon Valley Railroad in N-scale.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about your railroad?
I can. The Oregon Valley Railroad is my creation and my interpretation of the Portland and Western Railroad, which exists in the North Oregon Willamette Valley area.
Okay.
It's patterned after that railroad, so I used it geographically. If there was a location on that railroad, it's okay to have it on my railroad.
Right.
If there are engines that are running on that railroad, it's okay to have them on my railroad. If there is rolling stock on that railroad, it's okay to have them on my railroad. So I use the prototype from that perspective, but I loosely model it and put my own interpretation into the locations when I build them.
Okay, and we're starting here, and this is the start of the railroad and the end, but they're 250 miles apart.
The heart of the railroad is Albany, same as with Portland Western, and then from Albany it goes north up to the Beaverton, Hillsboro, Tigard area, crosses then from there through the tunnel, the Cornelius Pass Tunnel, over to the Columbia River, and then there's another division there which becomes the River Division, patterned after the old Burlington Northern A-line, and it runs from the Linton area west out along the river to Wana. Via Clascanai and Rainier. From Albany, then it also goes south into the Willamette Valley, down through a combination of cities to Eugene, and then across the Willamette River from Eugene over into Springfield. So that's the southern terminus of Springfield.
Very nice. And so we're actually just beyond Albany and on the lower section.
Yes.
And we're in the town of Eugene. Well, it's the Eugene Division. What's the name of the town?
Yeah, we're standing in the Willamette Valley just outside Junction City, which is there to your right.
And that's an actual real city?
Junction City is a real city along Highway 99 going down to Eugene. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, so when an operator first gets on here, you have 3 pieces of papers that talks about the operations, what they're doing. Can you explain a little bit, and then we'll show the image of these while we're talking about it for the viewers?
You bet.
Okay.
So in my operating system, I don't use cars and waybills. I don't use a timetable train order. I use written switch lists that are generated from a computer program that's part of the JMRI system. Okay. So JMRI has the Panel Pro section of the software. They have the Decoder Pro section. In the Panel Pro module of JMRI, they have an operations capability, and within that you can maintain your car inventory, and you can build switch lists and use it as your train moving system. Right. And that's what I've chosen to do. So my whole layout is operated off of the JMRI operation system. Okay. So when an engineer is assigned to a particular train, the first thing I do is I build a switch list, which I give to the yardmaster in Albany. And so if the train is coming out of Albany, the yardmaster will collect all those cars and build that train and have it ready to go. Once that train is built in the Albany yard, then the engineer is given a clipboard like this one that has 3 different pieces of paper assigned to it. There's 2 of them that are kind of generic. One is a general instruction, which says these are all the general rules of the railroad that tell you speed and locations and naming conventions and things that help you navigate around the layout. Okay. The second is specific to the train that they're running. So it gives them the train number, gives them the train name, where they're starting from and where they're going to, and then either specific instructions or hints on how to run that train to make sure that it works as efficiently and effectively as possible. Okay. The third part of that then, and those 2 stay with that clipboard the whole time. So that train assigned clipboard always carries those 2 sheets of paper. Right. The one that varies from trip to trip then will be the switch list. Okay. And the switch list we print out off the computer, add it to the clipboard, and then assign it to the engineer. And the switch list then will tell you, you're this train, you're leaving from this location, you're picking up these cars, and they're coded on this sheet in blue, and you can use this software to change them to whatever colors you want. So at this location, you pick up these cars. Okay. At this location, you'll either pick up more cars or you drop off cars. And then when you get to the point where you're ready to do work, then it tells you in red, these are the ones that you're going to be setting out. Okay. So all the instructions on how the engineer is supposed to run their train are built in these 3 pieces of paper, with the switch list being the hands-on actual railroad work of what cars you're hauling and where they're going to go. And that switch list tells you the car number, the car type, all the pertinent information about it, and then it gives you the location on where that track is going, or where that car is going to go onto what track when they get to that destination.
And I take it you have a track A, like this has track A and track B. You must have that on the fascia somewhere so they have a reference.
So when the engineer gets to their location, there will be a schematic on the fascia of the layout that says you are in Junction City, and here's the map of Junction City. And if you want Kiger Charcoal Track A, it's here. Track B is here. If you want Valley Fuels Track A, it's here. So people can read it here and then find it graphically on the map schematics that are on the fascias. Yep.
And I like the fact that it says no work at the different cities. That's nice.
And I've added that in. That's an option you can do with JMRI. And people have asked, well, why do you put all these things in here when you're not doing any work there? Well, for people who aren't familiar with the layout, sometimes knowing what progress you're making to where you're going helps. So I'm saying that, after you leave, in this particular case, you're leaving Rainier, and so then you're going to get to St. Helens, and so it tells you the order of cities you're coming to so you can track them along the fascia as you go, and it also tells you, you don't have to worry about this, you're just passing through. So it helps to reinforce that they're going the right direction, they're taking the right route, and that there's nothing to do as they get to those various cities.
Yeah, and if you've passed St. Helens, you've gone too far.
Well, yeah, and it tells you, so, when I'm in St. Helens, the next city I need to be looking for is Linton. So if I'm unfamiliar with the layout, I can look along the face and say, well, there's Linton down there. I see the sign for it. So I know I'm going that direction, and it keeps you going the right way. Yep.
Exactly. That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
So that's my paperwork system.
Okay.
And so what I do is I give that to each engineer when they're going out, and they carry that with them. And I have the ability to have little racks and brackets on the fascia, so when they're doing their work and then you stop, they can set that up in the bracket on the fascia. It's hands off. They can keep track of what's going on with it. And then when they're done, they bring this back. They turn their train in at the yard, or if they're working in a different yard, they put all their stuff away, and they'll bring this over and hand it back to the dispatcher. This train is tied down and put away at wherever it is, Albany Yard or whatever, and then the dispatcher can take that, can terminate the train in the computer system, put away the paperwork and put the clipboard back in the rack and ready for the next train. And when you terminate, then using the JMRI software, it will move the cars to the new locations and everything will be ready to build the next time. It just keeps everything moving sequentially.
Very nice.
Yep.
Well, I love how you've incorporated all these maps so people know where they're going. You've got a really, really nice railroad. This is really top notch. We really enjoyed running on it and operating it. And thank you so much for inviting us over to visit your railroad and share it with our readers and viewers.
You're welcome anytime. I'm glad to have you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you.